What is up, everybody? This is the first Wednesday of April, and this is the Petty Eddie podcast. I, of course, am Eddie Mack, or if you want to follow me on Twitter at KingEdward15. I got my brother in here talking with me tonight, but before we even get to him, I got to talk every week to open the show because they're fantastic. The shirts are fantastic. They have their homage.com. Make sure to go check them out. They have the most comfortable shirts I've ever worn in my life. I'm wearing one right now. The Barbershop. Wore this last night, winning a darts championship. I wore an homage shirt every week in darts since I got one because they're so comfortable and it's loose fitting, but not too loose. It's a perfect shirt for darts to play, and I helped win a championship for them, so that's cool. Homage, definitely check them out. Everything you want there. WWE WrestleMania was just this past weekend. We're going to talk about that tonight. Go get some wrestling gear. They just added some ECW and WCW shirts the other day. I believe it was Anarchy Rules for ECW and Thunder for WCW, and they're pretty fire shirts. That Anarchy Rules one I might have to cop, and you can too. Guardians just kicked off. They're playing great baseball right now. Go get some Guardians gear. It's always Brown season. Every second of every day is Browns. Go get your Browns gear. The Cavs, they clinched a playoff spot, and they're going to be taking on actually CJ's next. You see CJ.
Absolutely.
So you can go get your Cavs gear there. Anything pop culture. Pro wrestling, MTV, different TV shows, Ted Lasso, fantastic show, all sorts of different things, and they're always coming out with new things, and they always have deals going on. So make sure to check out at network_216 on Twitter to find the links we send out. Help us, help them, and help yourself with some dope gear. That's homage.com, at homage on Twitter. Make sure to go follow them. Make sure to get in tune with them because they're fantastic shirts. And I don't even say that because a response is just the truth. I literally wore these for darts for the past 4 months of the season since I've had them. So homage.com, check them out, and tell them I sent you. As you see, my brother CJ Morales, he was on the show once or twice. I think once, maybe twice, maybe we did 2 parts. I don't remember.
I think this is part 3. This is the third one.
We've been talking wrestling together for. I didn't realize it was this long. It's been 6-7 years now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm trying, I think of when, where I was living at the time and, in the house, and I'm just all right, I started talking to you guys a little bit, and then, the next year or two, everyone just, gets closer online, and then you had went to Mania before, then a lot of us finally got to meet up at Mania 35, the last Mania that I went to, Philly next year.
Yep, now we're planning a 40, that's crazy.
That's 40. I'm definitely trying to be there. I know you're trying to be there.
Yeah.
I know a whole cast of our Suplex City Facebook group is trying to be there, so it should be a good time. But anyway, before we get started, how you doing physically, mentally, spiritually, all that good stuff?
I'm in good spirits, man. I'm chilling. I'll be honest, it's kind of surreal that, it's been all the way, we met in person at 35, and now we're planning to go to 40.
Right.
That fast. That's kind of crazy. I didn't realize that until you had said it. But other than that, I'm good, man. I'm just chilling, enjoying my day off, and decided to come and chop it up about WrestleMania with my brother. So,
and of course I appreciate that. It was a great weekend of wrestling. It used to be we used to talk about way more wrestling than just WrestleMania, but I don't watch on WWE because I just don't care about it enough, and I just don't have the time to go through and find it on the internet, or I'm not paying for these other subscriptions. So it's mainly both for me, but there's still a shit ton of wrestling out there. No matter what, of course, you can go to something, and you've been there a few times for WrestleMania. I've been there for there's something to do no matter what you want to do. If you want to go,
it's literally a full week. It's a full week of wrestling outside of WWE, inside of WWE. I mean, there's a whole bunch of matches that don't get talked about, like all the dark matches at Access. We've witnessed that, different indie shows and Wally Mania, all that stuff. So it's literally it's a monster. It's its own entity. It's the it's the wrestling version of the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals, whatever you want to compare it to. But it is that serious of a thing.
And it's awesome. If you have not been there, I highly suggest getting there. Wally Mania, that was one of my favorite things. I was so excited to go to that, and I was so there.
Before we continue about Wally Mania, I gotta bring this up. Have you seen the video that's going around of Samoa Joe dancing to Jay-Z's PSA again this year?
Did he mess up the words again?
Yeah, exactly the same way, bro. He fucking up the words when he was rapping. I'm like, man, this is it was so cringe, but I loved it. It was great.
That I did not see that. I saw someone share that in one of the chats. I didn't watch it, but I'm just like, I can't do this again with him.
Yeah, no, it was so bad.
Just, that we were like clowning him afterwards. Like when we got back, everyone's like, "Yo, what the hell was that?" Like,
yo, I couldn't believe it because I mean, the way Wale sold it with his intro, he made it seem like that's his song. Like, you're gonna rap it word for word, bar for bar. He was gonna kill it, and yeah, it was far from that. So yeah, that's.
But Wale Mania is a fun time. If you do not know what that is, Wale hosts this event to merge hip hop and wrestling together. They have wrestlers from WWE, AEW, Impact, all sorts of different indie ones. They have different other wrestling personalities. I know Bruce Pritchard was there one year, and Dave Meltzer was there one year, and there's a whole bunch of people. It's a good time. It's like a mini concert / live podcast. It's a great time. Next year in Philly, I think Meek's going to be there. Like, that'd be crazy.
I think Meek and Uzi will be there because Uzi seems very, very dead set like on wrestling next year.
Yeah,
like he called out Dom already. There's the clip of him and Ray embracing each other backstage. Like he's and I mean rightfully so. Uzi's probably the hottest artist out of Philly right now. I Just Want to Rock is everywhere. I mean, we've seen that. That song is yeah. So I mean. That would be crazy.
He brought out the Usos. We'll talk about that match. But like,
right.
I didn't know what the hell I didn't know that's what he was doing.
I thought it was a standalone performance. Like I thought he was just out there to just do the song. I had no idea he was in cahoots with the Usos.
I didn't either. Here they come. Like, oh shit! All right. Wally Mania is a good time. If you can go to either Philadelphia or wherever it is in the future, I highly suggest it. There's something to do at every time. Even if you just want to go to the WWE events, you can just chill and space that out. But if you want to do it, we did like the full weekend from Thursday when we got there almost to the times Monday, Tuesday rolled around. We were just on the go. It was fantastic. Highly suggest that. But yeah, we just wrapped up WrestleMania 39, the largest grossing, the largest like all the money records they broke, and the attendance record for SoFi, the 1 and 2 night event. That's great. So overall thoughts. You like the two shows? You hated the two shows? In the middle of the two shows? Right over on that.
I have a love-hate relationship with the two show thing, and I'll explain why. From the perspective of somebody who's gone to these events and has spent the money, has dished out the cash to attend these events, it does seem like a money grab on WWE's part. Because of the fact that you have to pay for the two separate nights, where I think it should be like a flat rate to kind of attend both events, maybe an increase on one of the ticket, like instead of the $400 price range or whatever, they could bump it up to like $600, and that gets you into both nights, or however they should formulate it. Nonetheless, the format, the way they've been doing it, it was rough the first couple of years that they did it. We've had conversations where it's like you have that one standout match that's like, damn, I should have went to this night, or damn, I should have picked this night. So that aspect of it sucks. I think they finally mastered that formula because I loved both nights this year. I thought both nights had their highest points. I thought both nights had their moments where I wouldn't say it fell flat, because I don't feel that way. I feel like it just kind of, the pacing was good in between matches. You knew like when you were getting like a blockbuster match, and then you got like the good, the solid segue match in between. There were no bathroom breaks. There wasn't any of that. So, yeah, I think the 2-night format isn't going anywhere. Am I a fan of it? Yes and no. So but this year they definitely did their thing with it. I mean, night 1 was amazing. Night 2 just as amazing. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I thought it was an amazing weekend for them in terms of me. I love the 2 days. I know for us going in like the future and stuff, it's going to obviously be a little bit more money.
Right.
But now I know a little bit what to do and what to like plan for. Like I wouldn't go to all the same things we went to.
Yeah, definitely.
Always somewhere throughout that weekend. Up to some. I like it from a fan perspective too. I'm not sitting there at my house I'd be sitting there anyway watching TV, but it's not the same thing for 5, 6, 7 hours. It's
right.
It gives time to breathe. Like we can talk about it after night 1, going into the next day, and then here comes night 2, and go from there. I love that, and they did great pacing this year. Both nights were stacked. I thought night 1 outperformed night 2, especially with the main event. the Usos and KO and Sami Zayn. And then the Rhea and Charlotte match, that was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I think those stand alone, even though, you had Cody and Roman on the main event, and then you had Gunther and Sheamus and Drew just beating the hell out of each other.
That match was insane.
It's not like one like blew two out of the water.
Right.
There was something a little bit more energy and a little bit more big feel, and maybe because Shane McMahon comes back and then he tries to do a leapfrog and tears his quad and
in 30 seconds. So that was that.
Snoop Dogg though, he saved that because he knew exactly what to do, and Triple H said afterwards, and a bunch of other people said that there's a lot of people that are pros that would not know what to do right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Snoop Dogg just stepped right in. He's like, "Oh, you're going to do my partner like that?"
Yep.
Then gives him on the fly. Gives him a crip walk. LA went nuts. And that's what WrestleMania is about. Those type of moments. Like obviously it was supposed to be Shane. I don't know. I doubt anyone else was supposed to come. But the night before with Pat McAfee, no one knew was going to be there.
But you want to know what? Hold on. But wait, before we move on from the Snoop thing, because I totally agree with that. But I think people need to give The Miz his flowers as well.
Yeah.
Because he's the other half of that. It doesn't work without him either. And he improvised perfectly. He sold the punch. He sold the elbow. I'm pretty sure he had no idea where the fuck Snoop was going with it.
Nope.
So, that takes a lot of skill, and it's a callback to how far The Miz has come in his career. He's definitely quite the superstar these days. So shout out to The Miz for that one. That was a great segment. That could have went left.
He's highly underrated because
hell yeah.
We've seen him. He can put on good matches, but he's not a wrestler that's like, hey, I'm watching him for his wrestling. I'm watching him to see how he's gonna get me to be pissed off at him.
How he's gonna entertain me. He's an entertainer. That's exactly what he does, and he's good at it. He's found his niche. He's not the guy that you're gonna go to give you a super wrestling Dave Meltzer's 5-star. You're not gonna get that out of him, but you're gonna be entertained watching him, and that's the whole point of it at the end of the day, anyway. So
those suits looked expensive as hell that he was taking those bumps in.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that's an incredible honor to be able to host a WrestleMania. It's obviously a lot bigger than anything like any host was back in the day, and here is the Miz just being able to do that. He's on TV every week doing something. Doesn't always have to wrestle. A lot of times he is the bad guy that runs his mouth too much and then gets his ass beat. Riddle comes back on Raw this week and takes him out. They set up a match for next week, and on Raw he kept saying surprise, surprise, surprise this weekend. It was all for me. So obviously you knew someone was coming, but that we'll talk about Raw later. But that was a week big surprise for Raw.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is. Our expectations. We've been very, very spoiled in the past. I want to say 5 or 6 years with the Raw after Mania. So
all but like 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah. Although you know what, we'll get to that later. I'm gonna touch on the Raw after Mania. We'll get to that later.
Okay. Let's see. Night 1 kicks off John Cena, Austin Theory. That match did exactly what it needed to do. It established Austin Theory as the guy to like sort of get the torch from Cena, because Cena will have another 1 or 2 matches probably. Maybe 3 at the most. We're not going to see him much more, but here's Austin Theory stepping in, sort of like a John Cena from 20 years ago when he first comes in. Similar look, similar brash attitude. And I thought that was a fun match, and it served its purpose.
That match made me kind of sad, and I'll explain why. John Cena is aging rapidly.
Yeah.
It's noticeable now. The thinning of the hair. He's not as, he's not as big anymore. He's not as, he's not what he once was. So it was definitely a reality check. When he came out, I was like, holy shit, this guy's getting old fast. And I don't know if that's Hollywood doing it to him. I don't know if it's the going up and down, and as far as how he has to look for these roles, that was a tough pill to swallow. On the flip side, exactly what you said. That match served its purpose. I think it was a great opener. I think the ending of it was, the right guy won. They didn't try to swerve or cater to us. It was the right call, booking, the flow of the match. Yeah, everything was on point with that. I have no complaints, no gripes. definitely a solid opener.
Yeah, I was really pleased with that. And but like you said, Cena is aging, and it's noticeable now. And like maybe it is not, and maybe it is because of Hollywood and different roles he has to do, or maybe it's just because he doesn't have to be in that shape anymore all the time. And WWE, he had to look that way all the time because he was Superman. He was this incredible
top of the line, top of the food. Yep.
And now he doesn't necessarily have to be that because yes, you have to look good, and he doesn't look terrible by any means. He just looks
no, absolutely not. He's still in great shape. He's still fully capable of putting on a match. He's not tearing his quad in 30 seconds. He can still wrestle. It's just it's not the Cena we know and love. So that was tough, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Then they had the showcase match with the 4 teams. I thought that was a pretty good match. Given I didn't really care about it going into it. It served no purpose to me. I knew it would be fun just because of who was in it.
I mean, right. I think that was a good call because back in the day there was a time where some of the best tag teams in the world, and we're talking about the Usos who main evented night one, the New Day, the Revival. There were plenty of teams that couldn't get a spot on Mania on any, it was an opener, or sometimes there were even times where their matches would get cut out of big 4 pay-per-views. So I think the fact that they did have that match and that they included the word showcase, like, listen, this is what, these guys have earned it. They deserve to be seen. They deserve to have their work acknowledged and be on the big stage. I think that was great. I think it was a great match. I am a fan of all 4 teams that were involved. I think, everybody went there. They did what they're good at. They all had their. I love it when Alpha Academy when they're a team that both of these guys come from, separate tag teams that didn't work out. And they kind of like, it's funny how it works out sometimes because I think that's the team that they should have been from the jump. Like Otis and even Otis is the growth within that team. Like he's improved so much in a short amount of time. It just goes to show that, like, throughout the year, there's a lot of things that happen, and these guys earned that spot. And they earned the fact that they shouldn't have to open the show. They shouldn't be, a warm up when people are still getting to their seats. No, they deserve the spot. So, yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good. I thought it was there were some interesting spots. I was like, oh, that was cool.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yep.
It wasn't anything I was like, oh, I gotta go watch that again. But it's like, oh, okay, wow, that was good. That was worth my my time. And the Street Profits, I can't wait for Montez Ford to be a solo. So I hope they do a thing where they break up but not like turn on each other. They can like go their separate ways and just still each other and like, hey, if we need a team sometime, let's do it. But I want to see Montez Ford go to the next thing.
Listen, by no means would I call myself an Angelo Dawkins fan. I'm not, I'm not a hardcore fan of his like that. I don't, that's not one of my guys, but he's grown, he's developed. He is serious about his craft. He's putting in the work. So as much as I praise Montez Ford, I have to give him that kind of praise too, because even though I'm not a fan of his and, he isn't one of my guys, he's still putting in the work to become that, So
yeah.
Hats off to Angelo Dawkins. I thought he had a great match that night as well. So yeah, it was.
And he had the big moment.
Yeah,
in the middle of the second.
Yeah,
or whatever the hell he called it. And then he's got himself in great shape. Really slimmed down and like toned up and
taking good. His physique serious. Yep. Yeah.
Putting the work in, and Nate and Tyler hate him for some reason, but they're idiots. So.
Word.
But yeah, I just enjoyed that. One of my favorite things right now, and he's actually my favorite in all of wrestling, is Seth Rollins. Him and Logan Paul. I thought they were great opponents for each other going into it, and then I was like, all right, Logan Paul's been killing it since been here. Seth kills it regardless of this shit's gonna be fire, and it was pure fire.
Yeah.
And KSI gets involved. No one knew who the Prime bottle was. That was cool. That was I don't even know who KSI is really. I know of him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's YouTube, that whole realm. He's big there, but I think Logan has yet to drop the ball. He has a calling for this. Like he's just such a natural. Like it's kind of wild. Like how like he like everything. Like the like he's not a weak promo. He knows how to get the reaction out of the crowd. He plays the heel role. Like he's someone that, as random as it is, it came out of left field, but you can really see WWE pushing this guy and him actually being like a championship worthy talent. Like I wouldn't be mad if one day he's the Intercontinental Champion or the United States Champion or even the WWE Champion. Like, because let's be real, sometimes it's a mixture of what you can do in the ring with what you can do outside of the ring.
Yeah.
And the guy's he's a very smart businessman. He's a great entertainer. And I think Seth Rollins being at the level that he's at, there's very few that are on that level in the world of wrestling. It was a perfect pairing of the two. I thought the build was great from Logan eliminating him at the Royal Rumble, which nobody saw that coming at all. To him interfering in the Elimination Chamber. I don't know what the motive was behind it. I don't know if it was discussed backstage. I don't know if it's a shot or whatever, but I love the fact that he uses Hangman Page's finisher and he does it better than him. I was a fan of the whole thing. The entrances, the attire, it was great. I really hope they don't pull the plug on that feud anytime soon. I would love to see another one out of them.
Yeah, I would too. And that's a testament to Seth, because in back-to-back Manias, he's put in these not main event spots, but these spots that are going to, steal the show. And, last year it was Cody. Nobody knew it was Cody, but everyone, it was the worst kept secret in wrestling. But it was cool, though. Like, there was a little piece of me at when Cody, before he came out, I was like, this might not be him.
But he's been, okay, it's gonna be him. You know what? He's been doing that a little bit further back than that, because even, my first Mania, New Orleans, it was him in the triple threat with him, Balor, and Miz. And that was incredible, that match. Like that, to me, that was the sleeper of that event. Nobody thought that match was gonna be as good as it was, and that's still a standout match for me. Like I could tell you that match, front to back right now. Like even from the entrances, like when the Miz told the B team that he didn't want them to come to the ring with him, he kind of stood on his own and walked down there by himself. Like it was just, so Seth is, and Seth coming out as the Demon King, as the Night King from Game of Thrones, with the White Walker eye, like, and the whole attire, like, so that he's been doing this for a minute, and he's somebody who, if the title scene wasn't on lock, I could definitely see him being a champion as well.
Yeah. He he was, when we went there, he was the Beast Slayer. And he opened the show with Brock.
And beat him.
And it kicked off the show.
Yeah.
But right now, he just on a whole other level. His gear is so outrageous that I love it. His maniacal laughing is fantastic. He just knows everything about his character right now and just executes it and just goes out at the time. I don't know what the hell happened Monday. He's talking in the back, comes out to the ring, they sing to him, and he leaves. I'm just like, what? Okay.
Shout out to Hollywood, shout out to Hollywood for cursing out Seth Rollins in the tunnel of MetLife Stadium with me, though.
Yeah, y'all had beef with him for a little bit. Y'all did have beef.
That's a funny story. That's a funny story.
It's a great story, and it's just so random how far you have come from that, because fuck Seth, and it just and now you're like, oh yeah, Seth.
He's earned it. He's definitely a guy who's turned it around, and I feel like he's one of the few guys who has found his niche, and he knows what he's good at, and he's doing good at it. Like, not everything is for everybody, and the current roster and how they're booking guys, and who's the heels, who's the faces. Like, I think they finally got that right. Like, we've seen a couple of turns in the past week, and we'll get into that later. But for the most part, everybody is doing a great job within the company right now.
Yeah, and Seth can go back to heel at any moment. He was literally
absolutely
against Cody, and then once Cody left, Seth is basically the face again because the crowd wanted it, and that's just exactly what happened. And I'm excited to see what he does next. I don't know who he goes to next or what he does next.
I mean, I could definitely see them. I could definitely see them trying to push him to maybe into a feud with like Omos or somebody who they're trying to build and take to that next level. Because Seth is one of those guys who makes guys look better than they are, and he can really develop, and really, help push stars to that next level. So I could definitely see them doing that if that's something that they're trying to explore with Omos's character.
Yeah, that's not a bad option either. Probably my least favorite match of the whole weekend was the next match we're going to talk about was Damage Control versus Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, and Lita. Yeah. It didn't do much fun. It was cool seeing that, but Lita, God bless her, she just looks slow and like out of place there now. Trish looks great as always. Becky Lynch did her thing. Damage Control is awesome, but they're not at the same time. All they did was lose. So like, I was just like, the match. I was like, okay, like it happened. Like there were some cool things that happened in it. Like, but I was like, it's okay.
Yeah, you want my honest opinion on that match and the people who are involved in it. I'm probably gonna get a little bit of heat for this, but I wouldn't be me if I didn't, I wouldn't be me if I didn't say these things and go that route. So we'll start it off with this one. I'm gonna ask you a question, Ed. You answer it if you can. If you don't, I will answer it for you. In the past, I want to say 5 years, right?
Uh-huh.
The majority or the standouts of those 6 women in that match, what or who do they have in common?
Triple H?
No. Sasha Banks.
Okay.
At their peak and when they were the most interesting, Becky, Bayley, Lita, and Trish all were interacting with, in some way, it was Sasha. So now the fact that Sasha is no longer there, these characters are falling a little bit flat.
Yeah.
A little bit. And it's very interesting to see something like that happen because us as fans, and we're a little bit more than fans because we're a little bit more savvy of the business. We know backstage politics. We know all of that, bullshit. It's interesting when something like that happens because it puts things into perspective about value and what people bring to the table. When Sasha exited, there were a lot of people who, were very, very critical of it. Very, very vocal about, her what she contributes or what she brings to the table or lack of thereof for whatever reason. But when something like this happens to a guy like me, it's a very eye-opening thing because it shows you the reality of the situation. And maybe, just maybe, these women need that they need somebody of that caliber to bring that out of them. Because we haven't seen anything interesting from any of them since. So it's very that's very telling to me. I'll say that.
Okay, I didn't think of it that way, but that's a good way to put it.
I was definitely missing Sasha this weekend. I think she would have killed it at Mania, but
yeah, especially in Hollywood, like she transitioned.
Right, the whole Snoop being there, it would have been fucking perfect.
I mean, she was on The Mandalorian again today, this week's episode. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
I don't watch that, so I don't know if that's a spoiler, but I'm pretty sure she posted about it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. There are other women that haven't needed Sasha per se, like Bianca and Rhea. They've done their own thing, but I see what you're saying with the 6 that were involved, and we'll see what happens with them going forward. Speaking of Rhea, one of my favorite matches, and her and Charlotte absolutely killed it. There were some spots I was like, oh my God, that looks like it actually hurts. Like it probably did hurt, but I was like,
I was waiting for you to bring this match up. That's
holy hell. And like they were beating the hell out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great story from start to finish. And everyone's like, oh, this buildup was weak. It really wasn't that weak because it's 3 years in the making, and Rhea touched on that. And they didn't have to interact much. Rhea was doing
what's the term that they're always asking for? Oh, we want a slow build. We want a slow. Right. That's as slow of a fucking build as you're gonna get.
Yep.
3 years in the making. 3 years in the making. I think they knocked it out of the park. You know, Rhea's somebody that I've been vocal of in the past. I know that's your girl, but I've definitely had my fair share of highs and lows with her. It's her time. It's definitely her time. She's earned it. I love what she's done with the whole pairing with her and Dom. I think she's elevating him as a superstar. Something that his father wasn't even able to do, really, if we're being honest. Right. They tried with Ray, that kind of fell flat. It got boring. It got old very fast, even though they tried to drive it home. And Rhea just stepped in and was like, you know what? I'll take the kid under the wing. And Dominic he's turning into something now. Like, like before, where there were a lot of people who, weren't really sold on him. I'm sold on Dominic as a wrestler now. He's getting it. Like, he's understanding, he's learning, he's getting better in the ring. And that is all credit to Rhea. So when you're able to do something like that, when you're able to bring and uplift another superstar and still maintain your own, position on the roster and how you're performing and get better and grow with that as well, it's only right that you're at the champion level already. It's only right that you become champion. So I'm very happy for Rhea. It was a great match. I think I love the fact that Charlotte, even in defeat, she was smiling on the outside of the ring. It kind of, leaves the door open for there to be a sequel.
Yep.
That was definitely a highlight for me as well. So yeah, I share the same sentiments. That was good.
I know she was the Raw Women's Champion before, but this was at WrestleMania to beat Charlotte in a rematch from 3 years ago.
Right.
And with no one there, that's the year that we were all supposed to go again. We were supposed to go back to back. It would have been like 4-0 for you guys. And then, COVID hit. And then that match, it was good then, but it was just like, how good could it have been in front of 80,000? Right. And then, Rhea's character sort of like held that with her and even brought it out when she won the Rumble. She came out and said, yeah, I want Charlotte. And then she took something from me at WrestleMania. Now I'm going to take something from her. This WrestleMania, let's do it. That's it. That's the story. And I thought they told a great story in the match. There was a lot of times I thought it was over from both women. I was like, oh, it's over. Like 4, 5, 6 times I was like, okay, it's not over. And then, Rhea with her crowning moment, she gets her revenge. And like you said, Charlotte smiled. That's another sort of passing of the torch. I know Charlotte's still going to crown probably for a few years, but we don't know how long that's going to be. She sort of passed the torch to Rhea, and now Rhea can take over. Rhea is lifting Dom and keeping Finn and Damian Priest elevated as well. She's the leader of Judgment Day, in my opinion. It's not Finn, it's her.
I 100% agree with that.
And now it really is her because she's the champion. She's a champion. That takes nothing away from the other three. That's a great thing for these days to have a woman be able to lead a mostly men's stable. Yeah. And it's awesome. It's a great story to be had. And I can't wait to see what happens next with her. I guess we'll find out a little bit more on Friday. I can see them going back to Charlotte so she can go to Puerto Rico and perform.
I can see that.
But we'll find that out. But yeah, I was real happy with this match.
Yeah.
Then, of course, after this, a tag team title match main events WrestleMania for the first time. This was the second main event that had a tag team match in it. The first from WrestleMania 1, obviously. But the tag team titles were defended in the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania. I don't care if people are like, oh, it's not the actual main event. It was the main event of that show.
Yes, it was.
Main event of WrestleMania. That's what it is. And it was a tag team title match that with the Usos, who had this historic reign, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who have had this historic reign as friends. Growing up in the wrestling business together. Sami gets to WWE slightly ahead of Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens gets in, instantly turns on him after Sami wins the title, and then off to the races, on again, off again, just like they're in the. And this was the perfect culmination of this portion of the story that, the Usos had their rift because here comes Sami. At first, Jay doesn't like him, doesn't want him in there, wins Jay over, and then Sami turns on Roman, and here's Jay won't do anything to him until he has to, and then he does, and it was perfect. And then KO, how he was weaved in this, that's just great storytelling. You know, he tried to warn Sammy. Sammy's like, nope, this is my family. He's like, all right. And then, you know, he got beat down and he tried going after getting Roman. He got beat down. And then, you know, Sammy did with him that night. Hey, you know, let's take them down together. No, nope.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And when they embraced on that SmackDown, that was incredible. And and the match was great. And they obviously, to be able to main event a WrestleMania with your best friend and win championships and be in front of 80,000 plus people, that has been the greatest feeling ever.
Yep. And I think I mean, there's no other way to put it. They've definitely gone through, you know, the ringer, both in the indies and even from the start of both of their respective WWE careers. Hasn't been easy on either of them. You know, they've both had their time in the spotlights. You know, Sammy, while never being, you know, WWE or Universal Champion, he's had his fair share of championship opportunities. He's had some of the biggest highlights of the past year with the whole storyline with the bloodline. I loved fucking Sammy Uso. I loved that whole thing when it was going down. You know, from him winning Jay over in the War Games match to even him making Jay and Roman break character that episode of SmackDown when he said he wasn't acting very Usi. That was my favorite clip for a minute. Like, I revisited that clip a lot. So I think the build up to the match was perfect. I think the match itself, you know, it doesn't get any better than that. You have the best tag team in the world, in my opinion, at the moment, the Usos. You know, and they didn't pull any punches. Like, they left it all out in that ring, all four guys. The spots, it was just everything was great about that match. Honestly, I have it as my second favorite match of the weekend. I've already revisited Mania since Sunday night. I've rewatched the whole thing. That's definitely my second favorite match for good reason. I don't think that this feud is over. I don't think that, you know, I don't think that how do I put it? I don't think that this feud is over, and I don't think that we've seen the last of the turning on each other from Sammy and KO. I think this thing is going to be very.
I mean, anytime they get together, one of them's turning. But I would think it might be Sammy this time.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, I'm definitely. I definitely think that Sammy is starting to realize that, you know, I needed Kevin Owens this time, but maybe I don't need him going forward.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be for a while though, but I think they're going to continue the storyline with them versus the Usos. There's no way that Sammy can get back to the bloodline.
That's already done for. They're already that's.
But eventually, yes, one will. It's usually always Kevin Owens that turns on Sammy, but I think it might be reversed this time. But hopefully that doesn't happen for a while. Hopefully they just let them rock and go from there. But that was a fantastic match. That might I don't know where I rank it. I rank it either first, second, or third for the weekend. Moving on night two, women's fatal four-way wasn't much of anything. I wondered why Ronda wasn't doing much, but I guess she's hurt or something, and just came in at the end or whatever. I don't know. The match, I didn't have any care about going into it. It was cool, seeing Shotzi be on a Mania. That was cool. I like seeing Liv do her thing. This is like Natalia's 11th or 12th Mania she's been on or something. And that's cool. But other than that, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you had any other thoughts on that.
Nah, I mean, that for me, it was just, now that I think about it, that match was, probably my least favorite of the weekend, just because I wasn't really, I'm not really invested in any of those teams, to be honest with you, at the moment. And I really don't like what they're doing with Ronda and Shayna. Like, I don't like yeah, I'm just not a fan of it. It's not for me. If it is, more power to you. But yeah, I can't get jiggy with it.
Yeah, I want to get behind it because I want like
Ye-
the two-woman power trip type deal,
Yeah,
but they're not doing
how
a good
they're
job.
they're not executing it properly.
They're not getting me involved, like getting my attention involved in that. I'm just like,
Yeah, no.
Brock and Almost, that was cool. Brock had a big weekend, of course. He's Brock Lesnar. Again, he kicks off at WrestleMania. He gets
Yeah.
he gets the hell out of there. I don't know if he would have left because normally, if he's not going to be on the Raw after Mania, then he'll leave.
Yeah.
I think 35 he left early because he wasn't going to be on the next night because that was the end of his program with Seth. So he got on the first match and got out. He was at the first match, and everyone at first was like, I even myself included, just like, oh, Brock and Almost.
Yeah.
Thought about it. Okay, I get what they're doing. They're gonna see if Brock can get Almost up and F5
Yeah,
is
F5 him. Yep.
He can take him to Suplex City a couple of times. And
Yeah.
that's what the match told. He tried and almost was throwing him around though. Like he was throwing him around as he was like a child.
I've never seen Brock get tossed around like that ever.
Like maybe once by the Big Show. But
yeah, and even then it was even then it kind of wasn't like that. Like
he was like a garbage man just tossing garbage around.
Yeah, literally. Like it was that was crazy.
But that happened. It built up to Brock. He hit, I think, 3 Germans on him. Hit the F5. Everyone.
Yeah.
There was so many people like in the crowd shot right across from the dead camera or the hard camera. As soon as Brock got his big ass up there, everyone just rode with them and
I mean, because you know what it is. That's proper execution.
Yeah.
We knew what they were going for that entire match. But it still got the reaction out of us when it happened because of the fact that it was built properly. The guys did it the right way. Almost kicked his ass for the beginning of the match, made him look weak. We've never seen Brock get manhandled like that, let alone for that, that long in the beginning of a match. I'm not gonna lie, they did it so well that I thought he was gonna squash Brock at one point. There was a brief stint, like of 2 minutes, where I was like, yo, is he really going to squash Brock Lesnar and like they're going to put the rocket on this guy's back like that? So that's good. That's good flow. That's good performance. Yeah. And hats off to both of them. They got me sold on that match because I liked it. I was, as soon as it was over, where, we kind of went to the chat and everybody's giving their thoughts and feedback on it. I was one of the first guys like, yo, I wasn't mad at that. I liked it. So
I love Brock. I will forever love watching Brock perform. Getting to see him live. I got to see him at Mania 35, and then he was at a Raw that I was at. Getting to see him, even though I wasn't even close, just seeing him and seeing just how freakishly athletic he is for a guy of his size, it's amazing to see. And I've always been a Brock Lesnar fan, so that was cool. I was hyped for that.
And it's crazy how fast he still is at his age and size. That's scary.
It's wild. It is
he's
wild.
Fast. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. But shout out to Almost for getting that match. I wonder if Brock knows that, or if they said, "Hey, Brock, what do you think about Almost?" All right, cool. What's the story?
Yeah. That's
F5. All right, cool.
I guess we'll find out next year when they do the whole build up to Mania 39 documentary.
Yeah.
Promo 40.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a big Brock fan. I'm glad that he had another moment at WrestleMania. He seems to be having fun. Looks like he's been having fun for like 3 or 4 years now. Yeah. And that's just amazing. The other women's match on the show, Bianca Belair, they are calling it. She 3-peated at Mania, won for the 3rd straight year. Beat Asuka, kept the Raw Women's title. I really thought Asuka was winning this going into this match. And it did not happen. I wasn't necessarily disappointed, but I was like, I wish Asuka would have won. But maybe she does get it back because she's teasing coming back with a vengeance, and fans, of course, are trying to look into that as she wants to go back to Japan or something, and that just doesn't make sense. But I was hoping Asuka win it. I'm not mad that Bianca won. I just wish that something needs to slightly get tweaked with her, because she's almost the level of John Cena, to the point where it's like, yeah, you're great, but I need you to do something a little bit different. I don't need a heel turn. Like, I don't need everyone to turn face and heel. I need her to do something slightly different.
Yeah. Bianca is somebody that I wish they built and developed and maintained Sasha the way they're building and developing and maintaining Bianca. Because I feel like they learned from Sasha, and Sasha was kind of an experiment for them how to move forward with the, you know, with the women's champion that looks like us. So
Yeah.
um yeah, I and with Bianca, I definitely thought Asuka was winning that match, but I feel like even with her being as polished as she is right now, and she's, you know, she is one of the top performers in the company when it comes to the women's division. She's, you know, she's great on the mic. She, you know, she's a great performer. She's strong as fuck.
Yeah.
She's strong.
Yeah.
Like that, she's strong, bro. Like that's like core strength, and it's scary how strong she is.
Mm-hmm.
But with all of that, it's still somehow getting a little bit stale for me.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have the same sting that it did a year ago. Um, I don't know where they're going with her. I don't know what the plans are. I don't know, you know, I mean, after Asuka, where does she go from this as champion?
Hopefully back to Asuka. Hopefully it is Asuka that eventually does it.
Yeah, but do they build up the match with her and Rhea for Mania next year, champion versus champion? Do they plan on keeping her as champion for that long again? Like, you know, like it's just so many questions. But staying in the moment and staying current, yeah, I don't know if that was the right call, but again, solid match.
Yeah.
I thought the finish was dope. How, you know, it kind of
Mm-hmm.
looked like it was over, and she kind of muscled through that and still hit her finish. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't as good as the Charlotte and it wasn't as good as the Charlotte and Rhea match, but you know, it was solid, and it was a good segue in between the triple threat and the fucking main event. So yeah.
Yeah. I like Bianca's entrance. I like that, you know, she involved kids. I work with kids, so like it's cool to see kids be able to do that. And then you know, you heard Triple H say afterwards that the girl that was dancing with Bianca, mostly her mother passed away that morning, and that's just awful. But she wanted to be there. She wanted to keep doing her thing, and everyone like rallied around, and supported her, and like and that was a touching moment. And like you could tell that Triple H was really like
choked up. Yeah.
Glad that they were able to give that little girl that opportunity, because that little girl's life is never going to be the same again. It's going to be it's going to be the worst and happiest day of her life every year on that day.
Yep.
Hopefully she takes that good memory. But I thought that was so. I do think Bianca nails it with entrances and stuff, and how she is this this black woman's role model for young black girls to aspire to be like, you know, like you said earlier, a champion that looks like you know. And I think that's incredibly important these days. So that's why I'm not like, all right, we need, like, I want something different for, like, I don't need her. I don't know what I need for exactly. I need some sort of, but I do love all the things she does for kids and stuff. Like I said, she's really becoming the next John Cena in terms of all of the media she does and all of the work she does with children, and she makes her own gear and does all this other stuff. It's just incredible. So I'm happy for that. And I did like Asuka's entrance too. There was the different versions of Asuka. And Asuka with her newer mask, and I thought that was cool. I wish I was hoping there'd be a lot more Asukas, but I thought about it. I was like, well, there hasn't really been too many versions of Asuka. So normally we'd be wrapping this up in about 10 minutes, but Faithful Dogs podcast not going tonight. Someone is in Tennessee. I think Tyler is in Tennessee. They'll come back next week. 10 o'clock though. Dog Chug will be on. Ross, Roger, and Andy. They won't have guests, but they'll have their normal, tie-ins with guys coming on, but not an actual guest. They're going what they call Commando tonight. So tune in 10 at that. Again, so since Faithful Dogs aren't here, we're gonna keep going until we're done with this. So normally this is about an hour. It's gonna go over an hour tonight, just because I know I have the time freedom. So so that's what we're gonna do.
No, we're gonna cover our bases. Yeah, no, it's Mania. We got to talk about everything.
No Faithful Dogs tonight, but Dog Chug 10 o'clock right here. Network 216 YouTube page. It's a great show. Go watch it. Let's see. We talked about Bianca, and then one of my favorite matches, even though a lot of people were bitching about, was the Hell in a Cell. I really loved. I liked at first. I didn't like the colored weapons, But then as I'm watching, I'm like, you know what? This adds to it a little bit. Like it's sort of like it's red for Edge, purple for Finn, and it wasn't like overdone. I'm glad it wasn't. I'm a fan of the red cage, but I was glad it went back to like the old school one. I had a lot of fun watching this match, and then Finn got rocked by that ladder.
14 staples. 14 staples post match.
I don't know what they did something to him right then and there for him to keep going. They put like some numbing gel and like quickly stapled him there. But then he showed the thing afterwards. And, whew, that was nasty. But this was the culmination of another year-long feud that happened between these guys because Judgment Day formed at Mania last year and then took off and then they kicked Edge out and all that. And that story was great. And then everyone's like, oh, we want long-term stories. Well, WWE's given a shit ton going into WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a great culmination. I would have liked to have seen Finn win, though, to elevate him a little bit more. But I understand that it's probably Edge's last Mania. And so I get that. I just would have liked to see Finn win just because he's going to still be there and Edge might have a few more matches in him.
Edge dropped the ball not using the original Brood music.
Yes.
If you're gonna put Brood Edge on the fucking screen, you better put Brood music in the speakers. So that was a big L to start the match off. I was a big fan of Finn's entrance. I thought people hated the slow-mo shit. I loved it with the whole I love that shit. The match itself was good. I thought the colored weapons thing, it's definitely gonna look cool in the video game if they somehow patch that in to the Hell in a Cell match and like you're able to get the red. I think that's dope. I did like the ladder spot. I did think it was risky for Edge to be pulling out ladders at this junction and this age, in his career. I did think that was a risky move. I mean, it was a dope match. I think both guys, hit their they did what they do best. I was very intrigued to see how like a big stage Finn and Edge match would go because their styles are very different. And it's been a while since we've seen Edge with the guy that's like a lot smaller than him. Like he has the size advantage. So I mean, I was skeptical going in, but I think the match served its purpose. I think they delivered. No complaints on it. I'm not one of those guys that was hating on it like that. It was good to see the Demon back. I don't like the fact that it's not as common of a thing as it was. Like I was more of a fan of it when the Demon was more present. Especially at takeovers and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, no gripes. If this was Edge's last Mania, I think it's a strong enough note to go out on. So
yeah, it's definitely his last Mania. I think he wraps it up whenever they're in Toronto again or somewhere in Canada at the end of the summer, or I forget when it is, but I think that's when he'll end it. We'll see though. It's been fun having him around. It's cool. He can, this works because he can get beat down and go off and do his movies or TV show for a couple weeks, month or two, or whatever. Come back and get things back going. So I thought it served its purpose. It's always cool seeing a Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. And then this is a debate of my favorite matches of the weekend. Gunther, Drew, Sheamus beat the shit out of each other.
Absolute barn burner. Like that match, I'll be honest with you, it superseded my expectations. I didn't think they were gonna go that crazy with it. And to be honest, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre have kind of been doing this for a little minute where they've been putting on these, overly how do I even word this? The matches where they kind of go crazy with it and over deliver. But then when you add somebody somebody that you add somebody like Gunther who's killing it right now, and you add him into the mix, that match was crazy. They it was hard hitting. It looked like it hurt. There's those matches that they kind of play it soft and everybody's trying to be trying to keep everybody safe. No, I really felt like these guys were trying to hurt each other. They were like before they came out the curtain, they were like, yo, nobody pull no punches, and it is what it is. Don't get mad when I rock you right now when we go out to this ring, because oh man, that match was crazy. That match was crazy.
All of them look like this.
Yeah,
burger meat.
They were different. They were different.
It was burnt.
Their chests, each of their chests looked like the weapons from the Hell in a Cell match. One was red, one was purple, one was like brown.
It was crazy. But they went out and killed it. And they had a story coming into it too, because Gunther and Sheamus had a hell of a match at Clash at the Castle a few months ago. That was probably the match of the weekend there. That was why. And then him and Drew have had good matches. Drew and Sheamus have always had good chemistry. They're friends. That plays well on TV. And then you add that to the biggest stage, and they give Gunther this big entrance that, here comes Ludwig Kaiser, and he says, what he says, and here comes. It was awesome. Everything was awesome, man. They beat the shit out of each other, and everyone, they probably were in the back like, all right, whoever hits the hardest, or the other two buy around for him. Okay.
Yeah, seriously, like they beat the shit out of each other like that. Oh man, and it's what it is. It's kind of funny to see them go there with it, because WWE doesn't kind of do that shit anymore like that. Like we don't have the guys like JBL, like Mark Henry that we used to have, that you would see these guys perform and there'd be parts in the match where you'd be like, oh shit, he really tagged him, like that looked like it hurt. Like we don't have that anymore. So to see that now and on a stage as big as Mania, I was I was kind of shocked a little bit. Like, are we trying to keep this PG? Because these guys are beating the fuck out of each other right now. Like
they sure were, and it was awesome. I loved the finish. I love Gunther just coming out of nowhere off the top rope and splashing them. Powerbombing Sheamus onto Drew and then powerbombing Drew. That was crazy.
Imagine in a fight and a dude picks you up and slams you into your man's. Like what? Oh. That was a hell of a way to end it. I'm a big fan of Gunther. I love the fact that he uses the power bomb and it looks like it fucking hurts. Again, like it's not one of those soft, weak ass power bombs that we're used to seeing. Like that shit.
Is, like, he takes them down slow and then at the end he snaps them. I'm just that would hurt. I would really love if Gunther was the one to dethrone Roman Reigns, if they're not going to go the Cody route, whenever that is. I would love for that to happen. Outside of TakeOver Brooklyn, when we were there, when he beat my guy Pete Dunne for the NXT UK title, I'm a big Gunther fan. Like I was excited when he came in. He came out and confronted Pete Dunne at a TakeOver they had, and then Pete Dunne was on this long reign, and then he gets beaten. And I was there. I was pretty pissed off at that. I was like the only one not cheering in that section. But then I was like, all right, you know what? I'm over that. And I'm watching. He just beats the shit out of these people. Has great matches with whoever, and then to do it at WrestleMania, I really, if it's not going to be Cody Rhodes, I want it to be him to take the title off of Roman Reigns.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that. I'm 100% not mad at that. He's definitely a guy that they build him to that point where it's like, if it were to happen and they were to pull the trigger on that, you can't kind of go and say, oh, this is out of nowhere, this guy doesn't fucking deserve it yet. No, yes, the fuck he does, especially after a match like the ones he had this past weekend.
And so he's in contention for the record for the holding the Intercontinental title the longest. Sometime in the summer. I don't remember what it is. But that's coming up, so that's a cool thing, and you could build them to have Gunther challenge Roman, but even if he doesn't win, he can still be the IC champion. It doesn't have to be for the IC title. I want your title. I want cool.
To be a double champ, absolutely.
But even if he lost, he still has the Intercontinental to keep going with. So I hope that's the play if they're not going to do Cody, which obviously that's the next match. It's the last match that we had, Cody and Roman. I thought they killed this shit from start to finish, from the entrance all the way till the finish. There was a lot of unhappy people that were actually hypocrites too, because
I don't give a fuck if you were unhappy about the finish of that match. Like I do. I was waiting for this one. Fantastic match, top to bottom. The entrances, the build-up, everything. That being said, Roman Reigns is at the top of the food chain, and for good fucking reason. There is no reason why this guy should not be the undisputed WWE Universal Champion right now. He's cutting the best promos. He has the best storylines. He has the best all-around character, everything. The mannerisms, how he utilizes Paul, how he utilizes the rest of the bloodline, the jokes, everything. Like, you can't tell, like, There's all right. There hasn't been a guy since I want to say Austin and The Rock. There hasn't been a guy who has been a designated heel. You know he's a heel.
Right.
And he still has the crowd cheering. And, it blurs the lines of if he's a bad guy or is he, like, when you blur those lines, that's greatness right there.
Yep.
Not everybody can do that. And Roman is somebody who we all hated him when he was, coming out with the stupid bulletproof vest type things and the Shield entrance still. And, we hated that shit.
Yep.
So to see how far he's come since then, I don't care if he's had the belt for the last 3 years. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He should be champion right now. Cody, don't get me wrong. I can't take anything away from the guy.
Right.
When he left for whatever reason he did, and he elevated himself, which is the name of the game. He felt like they weren't doing it for him. He went out and did it on his own terms, by all means. However, you cannot expect for him to walk out of this Mania. Not saying that he's never going to be champion, because he is.
Yeah.
At some point, he's going to be champion.
Yep.
Whether it's, down the road, maybe next couple months, whenever the case may be, he will be champion, just not now.
Yeah.
You cannot expect somebody to go as far as to start another promotion to rival this one and go and cut all the promos that he did and, the smashing of the throne and, kind of, pushing and rooting for these guys to downplay the same company that now you want to be champion in because you feel like it completes your story because of your father. That's not the way it works. And it's definitely not going to work like that in a calendar year where you were injured most of it.
Right.
You came back at Mania last year. You had your feud with Seth for maybe 3 months. You tore your pec, and then you were gone from then all the way to the Rumble. You win, and now in 3 months. So after a total of what? 5, maybe 6 months in the calendar year that you were putting work together, you expect to become champion? After a guy who's been carrying, let's be honest, he's been carrying the company.
Yep.
He's been carrying the company the past 3 years. Through the dark spots, through everything. And the people that he's beaten guys who deserved it way more than Cody has right now. Sammy deserves it more than Cody right now, if we want to be honest. And he just smashed him, a month and a half, 2 months ago. So I get it. It looked like it. They did a good job of selling it and making people think that was going to happen. But no, absolutely not. Roman Reigns, the right guy, won. Yeah. He's the head of the table. He's the tribal chief. He's the best thing going in wrestling right now. No, absolutely not. I don't care if you were pissed. I don't care if you went to Mania to see Cody become champion. You could have did that shit at All Out or one of those other bullshit pay-per-views. Not this one. Not the grandest stage of them all, baby. Not happening this year. Nope. Absolutely not.
There's been a couple people, I know Bully Ray is one, and there's a couple others that I saw online that said that this is Cody's version of Hard Times. And
absolutely.
And people really wanted this story to be finished. It wasn't finishing at this first wrestling.
No.
People thought Sting was going to come in and beat Triple H at Mania. That was never happening. Like, you're going to have the last cling on of WCW come in and beat the son-in-law of the...
What? But all right, let me ask you as a fan, why, bro? Why should that happen?
Right.
Cody is not the guy that is, pushing the company and elevating it like Roman Reigns is to the point where people are paying to go see Cody. They're not. I haven't seen anybody say, "Yo, that's a dope Cody shirt. I'm gonna go buy that right now." I don't know,
but he sells hella merch though. He sells a fuck ton of that.
Yeah, but I'm not. I haven't seen, and I'm talking about on our level. The casual fans. Yeah, I get that. We can go all day about how that shit works. Right. I'm talking about like from a wrestling head perspective, from somebody who is invested. I haven't seen that. And I haven't seen anybody, I haven't seen anybody posting clips of Cody Rhodes promos from the week. I haven't seen anybody, making memes out of Cody Rhodes, segments on Raw. All of that is happening with Roman.
Right.
People who had no idea who Roman Reigns was a few years ago, they know who Roman Reigns is right now.
Yeah.
I have people, in recent years, I had people who I didn't even think were wrestling fans post shit about Roman. He's killing it on that level. He's becoming a household name. And let's be honest, he's you can even credit the guy with the reason, with being part of the reason why deals like what happened this week with the UFC and WWE has happened.
Yeah.
That's how strong he's building this company. It's Paul Heyman uses it as part of their promos, but it's part factual as well. He is WrestleMania. He's the guy that's, he's the company right now, bro. There's no reason why he should not be. Honestly, I wouldn't even, not that he doesn't need the titles, because I really think that even if they were to take them off of him, he'd still be just as strong. He'd still be the top of the industry right now. But there's no reason why he shouldn't be champion right now. There's no reason why he shouldn't pass 1,000 days as champion. He's absolutely deserved it. He's putting on the matches. He's building them up. Every time he wrestles and it's a championship match, it has that big fight feel to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like and when you do that, I'm completely sold. Acknowledge him.
Yeah. I said a couple weeks ago that it was almost too predictable that Cody was winning.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even in the group chat over the past, after he beat Sammy, or he's losing to Cody, I was like, I don't know if he is.
Yeah. You did call that. You did call that.
I don't know if he is, because then I thought about, and then in the past few weeks, I was like, he's this close to 1,000 days. Cody doesn't need to come in and do that. Like, Cody was undefeated until that point in his comeback, including house shows. I think Jamal shared it in the group chat the other day. He was like 38-0, including house shows, and his time back in WWE. And it's just like, okay, I get it. You need to build someone up. And a lot of people are bitching because they had their next John Cena, and they could have built him, and he could have went off to the races. Or you still have that in Roman Reigns. You still have Roman Reigns. So Cody will get it at some point. I don't know if he'll be the one to beat Roman. He might. I don't know if they'll run it back at Backlash, or if they'll have Cody win Money in the Bank and call him out at SummerSlam in a non-traditional way for Money in the Bank. Although I hope not. That's better for a heel, even if they do go that route. If they do it at Survivor Series. I was another clip from Bully Ray that I saw on Twitter the other day said something, and I was thinking about it afterwards. I was like, damn. Heyman named all of those pay-per-views, Backlash and SummerSlam and Survivor Series and the Rumble. He didn't name Mania. So if they want to build this out to Mania 40, and that also throws back to the Cena storyline where The Rock beat him in their first matchup, and then a year later they're doing it again, and he gets his win back. So that could be what they're going. I'm just excited that without being on the saying the same thing, Triple H, Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns were all three on the same page afterwards. When Roman said, if this is baseball, we're only in the third inning. We're on the surface. And then Triple H is like, people, because John Alba asked him a question, about the booking decision of that. And he's like, no, because you don't know what we're going to do next. You have no idea. If you sit there and watch TV and you see all that, that's going to be the end. But wait, there's more. But wait, there's more.
He said that Cody was trying to finish the story, but the story doesn't end. The story continues next night tomorrow on Raw, and then it goes on for the next chapter and the next chapter after that. So I agree with that. But my thing is, kind of honing in on Cody and where he's at in his career. He is over. We cannot take that away from him. He's built himself 100%. I'm not sold on him being the face of the company and that guy to hold both titles. I'm not sold on him yet. And the reason why I know that I'm not sold is because prior to Sunday's match, I'm going over the outcomes in my head earlier that day, and I'm like, damn, if Cody wins, do you 100% in your mind believe that he is the best that they have to offer right now? And when I answered that question, when I asked it to myself, my answer was no, because you still have Roman. Right. Roman is still that good that it would honestly be, if they were to put the titles on Cody, my question wouldn't be, oh, what's next for Cody, or who's next for Cody. My question would be, all right, when are they putting them back on Roman?
Right.
Like, yeah, that's it. Like, there's no other guy. There is no other guy to me. Like,
right.
Once he beat Sammy, and to me, I think Sammy was actually more over than Cody is right now. At that moment, once he beat Sammy, it was like, yeah, there's nobody. There's nobody. Absolutely nobody.
And it would have been stupid if Sammy we don't want to beat him to end that reign right before the biggest show in wrestling history. No,
I mean, it would have been a big swerve, and it could have led to something else. But
right, but I would rather. I'm a guy that likes to see history, like long reigns. Like, I'm not a Warriors fan by any means, but I like seeing the Warriors on their dynasty. I wasn't a Patriots fan. I did like Tom Brady, but I like seeing the dynasties in sports. The Lakers three-peat. Obviously, I love that. And they repeat again later on, and then the Heat, even though they were the bad guys of the NBA, love that. So I love seeing dynasties, and I just love that type of thing, and I love seeing that in wrestling too. So give me that. We haven't seen a guy hold the title for.
Nowhere near this. The last one was CM Punk, wasn't it?
I think the longest one before that was Hogan. Of the modern era, I think it was CM Punk, but all historical. They said there's like 4 guys that are ahead of him: Hogan, San Martino, Backlund, and Pedro Morales.
Yep.
Yeah. So I forget what the number is, but just getting to 1,000, that's crazy, especially in today's day and age where everyone can complain like, oh, we want so and so to be a champ, and then when they are, we don't want him anymore, and it just goes back and forth. Well, they don't listen to us. Like on Twitter's not real. We can go on there and we can shout to whoever and argue with whoever, and so they don't care about that shit. They have Nick Honda said last week they have their stories planned out months in advance.
Yeah,
right. That's what I like to hear. Like, that's how I feel it used to be.
Yeah.
And hopefully, like, the dirt sheets don't spoil a lot of things. I don't know why you'd want to spoil things that you're going to actively watch. Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, if I'm going to watch if I'm watching The Mandalorian, for example, and I'm watching the newest episode, I don't want to know the plot and what happens before I watch it. That's going to take it away from me. I mean, it would probably still be dope, like Ted Lasso every week and Bel Air. I don't look for like spoilers and things.
I mean, we always talk about, privately in our chats and everything, we always talk about how we feel like dirt sheets kind of took away from the business and they hurt them more than they helped them in any way. So it's very much that, that's very real. That's a real thing. But you got to give credit to a company like WWE, where these guys were getting their shows and their finishes and their endings spoiled days, weeks, months in advance, dirt sheets every day, filled with everything, and they've overcome that to put on a phenomenal highlight of the year for them. Like, that was this past Mania. I feel like there's a lot of people in recent years, especially since the pandemic era, who have fallen out of love with wrestling, who don't tune in as much anymore because they don't have the time or the energy to follow it or anything like that. However, I've seen casual fans. This was like literally everything that they were saying after the show is 100% true. This was water cooler talk at work the next day. There's people who I know that don't follow wrestling that were like, yo, this was all over my social media this whole weekend. I want to know what happened. Like, what was going on? What did I miss? Like, it reignited so many people's passion for wrestling, and specifically for the type of wrestling and programming that WWE offers. So it's very important that we praise them, because we as fans are very vocal, and we do kick them in their ass when they do fuck up and do something that we don't like. So when they do deliver and they do stuff like what they did this weekend and put on a great show front to back, they deserve all the praise. Everyone, the entire company. So yeah, it was. I have no complaints about this Mania. I love this Mania. Yeah. This was great.
I don't know if I'd call it my favorite ever. I'd have to watch it like months.
Yeah, no, by no means, but it's definitely one of the better ones. Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, it's definitely up there.
But yeah, speaking of the success, they succeed in business by selling the damn company
the next day
for $9.3 billion to combine the UFC and WWE under the same umbrella under Endeavor for I think they said it's like a $21 billion they just created. That is insane. First of all, I never thought that the company would ever be sold, and I never thought Vince McMahon would ever not be in the company unless he died. Then last year he retired, all the allegations and whatnot. This year, a year later or 6 months later, however long it's been, he's selling the company for an astronomical profit of what he bought it for. He bought it for $1 million back from his father in the 80s, and now it's $9.3 billion.
Yep,
that's insane. So obviously that leads into Raw, because a lot of people Raw after Mania this year, I'm just gonna come out and say it flat out sucked. There was a couple cool, like the Bloodline Cody was cool. Cody Brock, the potential for them to team together was cool. How that ended was cool. But Vince had influence in that, and I love Vince, and I know if he did some of the things that he's accused of, then that's awful. And I'm not saying I love that part of Vince. I love wrestling business Vince. I don't care about any of that other shit. I do not care about it. Like, it's fucked up, but I'm also not in that circle. I don't live that lifestyle. I don't know what it's like to be a billionaire. And
that's above our pay grade. We're talking at a fan level right here, and we're not, we're not gonna.
But when he left and Triple H took over, the business shifted and the company shifted in a way that I felt like, oh my God, this is like all the times we've watched NXT over the past few years and all those takeovers. No matter who it was on Takeover, it could have been, not too higher up names, or it could be the two best names. They're killing
everybody. Everybody was built. Yep,
start to finish. And that felt like the same way with every pay-per-view they did, or premium live event. And at times it felt like that with every Raw and every SmackDown they were doing. And it was just like, all right, cool. This is great. Triple H, I'm glad he's booking it now. He likes some of the guys I like, blah, blah, blah. And we get that. And then Monday, it seemed that Vince was in control of that. And if that's the case, I don't want to see that. I love Vince as the wrestling mind, and he's one of my heroes in life from what he's been able to do. Coming from, he came from nothing really, then came up and built himself up and bet on himself in WrestleMania. He gave me a ton of my best memories in life. So like I said, wrestling bubble Vince, that's who I'm talking about. I don't want him back. As much as I love him, I think that it would be a big kick in the ass to the talent, and some allegedly have already said that. So what are your thoughts? Vince coming back, the company being sold,
company being sold, that's, I mean, we've spoken about this for months, and it honestly, it still feels surreal. Like, I still have trouble accepting and believing it. That being said, Vince being back in the picture in a creative way, I'm not a fan of it. I hate it, to be honest with you. I hate saying that. However, I hate the mustache. I hate the mustache look.
I actually like the mustache.
I hate the mustache. But I will say this. Being as though the company is sold, and there's new people to answer to, there's new people who are going to demand results, there's new people who are going to elevate this thing to the next level. You take a guy like Dana White, love him or hate him, he's in that same he falls in that same kind of zone as Vince, as you can't really judge the guy by the personal level of it, but business mind Dana White and what he's done with the UFC specifically through the pandemic. I'm a huge UFC guy. I love the UFC. I watch all the fights. Big fight weekend coming up, Adesanya and Pereira too. It said, that being said, you add him into the mix, I don't think we're gonna see the same situation where Vince is taking over creative and shit is going flat, and people are, numbers are down and viewership are down, and people are just like, oh, we're gonna let this rock because it's Vince. Like, no, now you have that checks and balance system where people are gonna be like, all right, fuck that, this isn't working. Get fucking Hunter back in there, fix this shit, and get us back on the up and up, because what we saw Monday night for a Raw after Mania, that wasn't it. But Triple H is still very much there. He isn't fired. He isn't resigning from his position.
Right.
So I do have faith. And it's exciting times to be a wrestling fan, man. Because even the whole merger between the UFC and WWE, what does this mean for both companies? Are you gonna see UFC guys who decide to no longer compete in the octagon, kind of flawless, like kind of seamlessly transition into the WWE and start experimenting in that realm? Or do you see guys who are absolute monsters in WWE and at the peak physical conditioning and kind of do think, hey, what if I wanted to take my shots at the octagon and what happens with all of that? Those are possibilities now that you really have to sit back and ask yourself, because it could be a real thing. And that's exciting. I don't know about everybody else, but I know for speaking personally, that's something that, it's crazy to even think about, but it's even more crazier that could be a reality now. So that's super, that's super dope to me. I'm a fan of it. I'm excited to see what's coming next. Even as early as this weekend with the Adesanya fight, because they know that that's a huge event for the UFC. And now that WWE is under that umbrella, you had guys that used to go to the fights on the regular, but do you see Roman Reigns in the audience, decides to watch the fight, or if Lesnar decides to show up, or Lashley, or one of those guys who have been in the octagon before? It's just crazy to even think about, bro. So yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, and I'm excited for it too. I'm a big UFC fan myself, and I don't follow it as closely as I do other sports, but I do watch all the big fights. 2 or 3 of my group chats with my boys, different friends, be like, hey, so and so might be fighting so and so, and then what do you think so and so's chances are this weekend, or who do you guys got? Things like that, and I'll be like, hey, I don't know who that guy is, and then they'll be like, oh, he's a great on the ground, but he doesn't have much striking, or he has great striking, but he can't do anything. Whatever. So that's all I know who guys are and stuff, and I know the big names and stuff. It should be interesting to see, because they just built a $21 billion mega conglomerate. They combined the 2 highest things of combat sports. Wrestling, UFC. Obviously, UFC is very real, and they strike each other in the face for real. And WWE's scripted and predetermined, but they're still getting their ass beat every week.
Absolutely.
So it's a whole different realm of combat sport, but they're combining that. The 2 biggest juggernauts already combined to make one. That's gonna be fun to see. As for the Raw after Mania, you said it earlier, we are spoiled in a sense as fans. We know things are gonna happen on these. We know that
we're expecting big returns. We're expecting big debuts. We're expecting, we're expecting the one highlight that I can say about the Raw after Mania. Yeah, Riddle coming back was that. That was cool. I'm a fan of Riddle. We all knew it was coming. Yeah, it did what it did. Whatever. Brock turning on Cody.
That was dope.
That was so fucking good. That was so good. That he beat the shit out of Cody. Nobody saw that coming. It was almost like a double turn, really, because nobody saw him even teaming with Cody in the beginning. I was scratching my head once they put the stipulations up, and I'm like, who the fuck is who's gonna come out right now and save Cody's ass? And then when it was Lesnar, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I mean that kind of makes sense. He can't compete for the title since he lost to Roman already, so he's got nothing to lose. It does feed into the storyline. He still has the beef with Paul, it's all of these things, and then for him to just turn around and with no, rhyme or reason or hinting at it or anything like that, he proceeds to beat the ever-living fuck out of Cody for 5 to 10 minutes, which was great. That was probably the highlight of the show. Low-hanging fruit. Yeah, whatever. Could they have done better? Absolutely. I don't know, because I mean, then again, it kind of flows over into NXT the next night. I don't know if you've watched it. Did you watch it? Okay,
cards are on Tuesday, so last night was the last night.
Okay, cool. All right,
so I'll be able to start watching NXT.
Congratulations on your win as well. So let me just fill you in on what happened there. We saw another big turn with fucking Braun Breaker.
Okay.
Turning on Carmelo Hayes.
Also, not the respect anymore, huh?
Beat the fuck out of him and Trick. And Trick. So that was dope too. So it's like if they're kind of like, I guess it's it sucks because of the fact that we've been spoiled. But if it is sort of a reset and kind of trying to kind of reset and get back to ground zero on the night after Mania. And what they're doing is, as opposed to giving us major debuts and like, spoiling us with all of these big events happening, if it's like slow build into different storylines, then I can accept that. You know what I'm saying? Because now we didn't get spoiled with the normal shit that we have happen after Mania, but now we have all the questions like, what does this mean for Cody's rematch?
All right.
Is it Cody versus Brock in Puerto Rico, and then Cody and Reigns down the line at the next Big Four pay-per-view? Are they going to slowly build towards that, and then he kind of try to get his momentum back and try to make it happen there? Will that be past the 1,000-day mark for Reigns, and then it's more realistic and it makes a little bit more sense for them to take the titles off of him? Like it just opens all the doors for these different things, and it all goes back to storytelling. So that's the silver lining in the gray cloud for me when it comes to the Raw after Mania and what it was. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
I don't know if this is defending it, but I will say this about it. They literally just came off a whole week long of events, like Raw the Monday before, NXT, and then obviously travel to LA. Thursday night, some of them are at Wale Mania, and they're doing different things and doing signings. Friday, there's signings and the Hall of Fame, and then the next morning is Stand and Deliver, afternoon is Stand and Deliver, and other media things in the morning, and then WrestleMania Night 1, and then WrestleMania Night 2, and then Raw, and then NXT, a couple of days off, and then SmackDown again. Like that's a long.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Like, yeah, we didn't get the big surprises that we have been accustomed to. I think they overhype Raw after Mania these days. Just they keep saying Raw after WrestleMania, Raw after WrestleMania. Okay, we get it. Obviously, we get it. It's fucking huge, obviously. But if you're gonna like promote it like that, just be big on it. I am glad that they didn't save the show, but they made the most of it at the end. I really didn't think Brock was gonna turn. I was like, okay, this is gonna be cool seeing Brock in a tag match, seeing this play out a little bit, and then it didn't. The only thing you said that no one saw it coming. There was a slight part of me. Brock was bouncing around when Cody was getting in. And like Brock kept like looking over at him. And, like he's bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. And someone else said that in the group chat right as I was coming to say that. And I was just like, he's just sitting there. And then all of a sudden, boom, just beats the shit out of him.
That's how I know we talk way too much and we kind of got that wavelength kind of thing. Because I was rewatching the clip on Twitter and I'm looking at Cody and he's doing his normal like entrance thing. And then I notice Brock bouncing around in the fucking corner and he looks like remember old Brock Lesnar right before he would right before the match would start, he used to do that shit. And I'm just like, like if that wasn't a tell right there, and it's like they sold it so good because we just thought he was, just getting ready and, kind of like focused on Roman and ready to whoop some ass. And then it was just like the whole time he's like, he's staring a fucking hole into the back of Cody's head. And I'm just like, oh my God. He made it clear kind of that he was going to do that. So it was such a good swerve, such a good turn. And for Brock to still be doing those at this age and this level in his career, he comes off the match with Omos where, it wasn't really highlighted. It wasn't really one of the main matches at Mania. And he just reinserts himself right back into that main event scene with, arguably the top guy in the company behind Roman. And, now it's like, what the fuck? Like, how does does he, that's what I mean. Like it leaves so many possibilities for the storyline. What if he cuts a deal with Roman where it's like, if he takes Cody out, now he's eligible for another title shot because of the fact that, Roman knows he can beat him. It opens the door for so many things. So it's just like, I don't know. It was
dope.
Yeah.
It was dope. That's all. I can't really think of other words to say. It's just dope. And I'll say this. Brock and Roman, they damn sure aren't working back-to-back nights and matches.
Hell yeah, nah.
So we all bought into that and thought, oh shit, here's gonna be a tag team match. Why we thought that, I'll never know because they wrestle once a month maybe, or Brock a little bit more seldom. Maybe.
That's why I was laughing when Cody in the opening promo when Cody challenged to the rematch when he says the word rematch, and Reigns and Heyman kind of look at each other and he's like, rematch. Like, the
Right.
fuck? And Heyman grabs the mic and he's like, if I may answer for the tribal chief, exactly when do you think you're gonna get this rematch? Because they ain't gonna be tonight. Like, that's not happening. Right. So I thought that was fucking hilarious. So, and yeah, you're right. I mean, these are guys who, shorter schedule guys, but that's the top of the chain these days, man. It is what it is. So, crazy.
Hey, when you're at the top, you don't have to answer to anyone. So, Brock Lesnar's been at the top of this thing for upwards of 20 years, obviously with a break.
Yep.
Roman, obviously the top guy in the company in wrestling these days. Just incredible. Like I said, although but Street Profits and Sammy and KO was cool too.
Absolutely.
It was cool. I didn't expect that. Is crazy that Bianca, KO, and Sammy, competed at WrestleMania, flew to New York for the Today Show, and then flew back to LA to be there. That's crazy. Like, shout out to them. I would be jet lagged. I'm jet lagged when I go from Pittsburgh to Atlanta and back.
Yeah, even a minimum on a private jet, what a minimum that's probably the fastest you could get there is maybe 4 hours. That's 8 hours out of your day at the crack of dawn too to do the Today Show. So like, that's tough and it's taxing, but
that's what they do.
Exactly. That goes to show why they are where they are. At WWE, I hate to be a company guy and I hate to, put my company hat on, but I'm somebody who's been a WWE enthusiast through the highs and the lows. I've never turned my fucking back on them. I probably never will for the rest of my life. I'm a lifelong, wrestling fan. And that's why they are the premier company in the industry. And I don't give a fuck who decides that they want to start a wrestling promotion to rival it. I don't care if that's your thing. If you like, that kind of wrestling and that style of shit, more power to you. Right. But if I'm gonna go to a restaurant and I'm gonna eat, damn it, I want the filet, and that's what they're serving over there right now. So they're giving you the good stuff, like Roman said. They're giving you the fucking filet mignon right now. So that's what I'm gonna watch if I'm gonna watch wrestling.
Absolutely, I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm going to let CJ plug anything he wants to plug if there is anything to plug. I know he has some things working. I don't know if it's even announced like the public yet.
I've still got some things in the wraps. I will be, making a couple of waves in the next weeks to come. We're still getting things situated as far as like, what exactly that may be and what the next chapter is for me. Other than that, reach out to me on Facebook, CJ Morales. You spell CJ CEEJAY Morales. You can hit me on Instagram at cj.nyc. You can hit me on Twitter at CJ Tweeted. I'm pretty sure all those socials will be linked into the pod. Thank you again for having me, brother. This was, fun as always. We do this every day, but it's always a pleasure when we can let the people into our conversations and kind of get into what we do on a daily basis. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to coming back, man.
Of course, and sometime we'll gotta talk about football because your Eagles almost got done this year.
Yo, man, I'm not quite ready to relive that pain yet, but when I am, I'll be back here and we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about how it's looking in the off season for the NFL because some exciting things are happening. So, and we got playoff basketball at this point. So I'll be back soon.
You're welcome. You're welcome anytime. You know that.
Appreciate that, my brother.
I appreciate you coming on, taking the time out. That's always fun. Always, it's like obviously we're not together, but we can see each other.
Absolutely,
it's just like obviously we talk almost every day or most days of the week in group chats and whatnot. But just like familiar to like see you, it's just like all right, it's like we never left. Like it's like we never left New York. We're just sitting.
Absolutely, and now we always got Philly to look forward to. So we're definitely gonna be out there.
Definitely gonna make that happen. Obviously, 10 o'clock tonight, Dog Chug. Make sure to go check them out. Ross, Andy, and Roger. No outside guests, just who they have. Sherry and Ed in Columbus will be doing their bits. Now, make sure to check out the Faithful Dogs next week. They'll be back at 8 o'clock right after me at 7 next week. Make sure to check out the YouTube page. Go subscribe and hit like on a lot of these videos, especially this one right now. I know Jacob Roche has been killing it this week, giving you content, draft content. I think he just did a guards video the other day. There's a guards podcast on Thursday. There's just a bunch. There's a daily video every day, draft prospects. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Go check it out. Follow us on Twitter at network_216. Follow all of us. There's so many to list. I can't name them all. I'm sorry. Again, Dog Chug, 10 o'clock tonight. Follow me, King Edward 15. yeah, make sure to go follow Homage as well. Get some gear from them, and Underdog Fantasy. Make sure to go check them out too. A new unique fantasy playing game. Check them out. And again, Network _216 for CJ. I am Eddie, and until next week, go Browns.
Go Eagles, baby.